The name of this podcast and the associated newsletter, it's kind of been missing the mark, so I need your help. Invincible Solopreneurs has been about freedom, independence, defining your second act, quitting your job, leaving bad bosses, and living life the way you want. But something's not clicking. The name doesn't match what most of you actually want. So let's dive into that in this episode. I'm Larry Cornett, and this is Invincible Solopreneurs. I've been operating this podcast for a number of years. I first started with my Invincible Career podcast and newsletter, and that was a long time ago. I've been doing this for over 10 years now. And as things evolved, there clearly became part of my community that was interested in starting their own thing. They had a successful career. They were getting toward the end of it. And they said, I'm not ready to quit everything entirely, but I'm kind of tired of working for someone else. I want to start my own thing, but I don't know what that looks like. So rather than trying to force all of that into the career newsletter and podcast, I branched off and I created Invincible Solopreneurs, which is this podcast. And there's a newsletter that's associated with this as well. Now, the overall mission and the movement I've been building with the newsletter podcast, and there's a community as well, it's still about investing in your freedom. I really believe in that. Having a sense of purpose and finding fulfillment. Doing all of this so you can fully enjoy the last half of your life. We spend first half of our life getting our education, growing up, getting a job, investing in our primary career, raising a family, whatever it might be. And then we reach this point where we're like, I don't know if I want to keep doing this. How do I set things up so the rest of my life, let's say, some point in your 50s, can be great, can be as good as it possibly can be? How do I make that happen? But I think the name Invincible Solopreneurs, it's missing the mark. I've heard from a few of you over the years and people who've encountered the name on social media and other places. And I know that some people just aren't even sure what it's all about. Like the word invincible, the word solopreneurs. They're like, what are you talking about? The reality is building a business for most people is a means to an end. Very few people want to build a business just to build a business. There are some. There are some that really have a drive to build a business and conquer the corporate world and create this legacy. I know that happens. But I think there are many of us, myself included, that we build a business because it will give us something we want. It generates revenue. It creates income for us. It gives us freedom. I mean, even the idea of quitting a job is a means to an end. Yeah, it feels good to quit your job. But that's not really the end goal. You're quitting a job for a reason. You're trying to escape something. You're trying to free yourself up to go do something else. And when you look at things like solopreneurship, entrepreneurship, partnerships, corporate entities, LLCs, all that stuff, it's really just different approaches to building businesses. No one wants to be a solopreneur just for the sake of being one, for example. So there's a few things. I've heard from some of you who've reached out, messaged me, spoke up in community meetings over the years. It's not really about, quote, building a business per se. It's about starting your own thing, whatever that means, and Starting something that makes enough money so you can quit a job that is no longer serving you well. Whether that profession is changing, the industry is shifting, you're really tired of working for someone else, whatever it is, it's no longer serving you well. So that's really what it's about. You want to fund your freedom. You want to control your time. I talk a lot about that. How powerful it is, how amazing it feels to own your calendar and control your time. Maybe you're tired of job hopping and interviewing all the time. The world's changed. We no longer sit in a job for 20, 30 years. That's gone. That's our parents. That's our grandparents. That was their careers. Now people are job hopping every 1 to 2 years. I used to job hop every 4 years. It's accelerating, and people are tired of it. People are tired of dealing with bad bosses and toxic managers, and unfortunately, a very small number of bosses and managers and leaders are really good. The decent ones, I think I've seen estimates about 20%, and we get tired of it. I coach a lot of people on this very issue. They're like, I have a really toxic boss. How do I manage this? And it keeps happening in company after company after company. Folks like us don't really want to scale something into a massive corporation. We've worked, many of us, in large corporations. We've seen the inside of the beast. We know the stress of what that means, and we're not really wanting to do that. We just want to create something reasonable, something that is sustainable, something we could do every day, every week, for months, years. We don't want a job, or even a business for that matter, to be the center of our universe. I talk about this all the time. We want to focus on our life first. What do you want your life to be like, your daily life? And then defining a model that will support that. Whatever it is, a type of business or consulting or contracting, any kind of revenue stream that lets you live your life first, and whatever you've created pays the bills. The word invincible may not resonate with you. When I first built the brand and I was really focused on invincible, it was really the only word I could find that encapsulated everything I was talking about. The feeling of being empowered, of being in control, of being confident, of being so good at what you do and so well known that you get to call the shots. You are not at the whim and mercy of an employer or someone else, right? But I know that word may not resonate with everyone. People are just saying, I don't necessarily want to be invincible. I just want to be happier. I want to be healthier. I want to feel financially secure. I want to be able to pay my bills and not be freaking out all the time. I get it. And the word solopreneur may not resonate with you. That's really just one way you could set things up. And it's where I've settled, because I've been an entrepreneur, I've been an employee, I've had employees, I've been in corporations and smaller companies. And for me, the model of solopreneurship works. That's kind of my personality, but maybe it's not right for you, and so it doesn't resonate with you. You may hear that word, solopreneur, entrepreneur, and for you, that just sounds like grinding and hustling, setting up some sort of side hustle. It just sounds like a lot of work, and maybe that's not what you're looking for, is more work. And the name I created, this Invincible Solopreneur name, it was a good fit at the time for my brand, because I have other Invincible brands. I have the Invincible Career newsletter. I have the Invincible Life community and newsletter. So it all fit under the umbrella. But the name isn't about me, is it? It shouldn't be about the convenience for me. It's about you. It's about you as one of my listeners. It's about my newsletter readers. It's about my community members. It's about my clients. It's about what you are seeking. What are you looking for? What resonates with you? What attracts you? What do you want? So this change, the change I want to make to the name, essentially a rebranding exercise, it's about serving you better, not making it easier for me. So I would love to hear from you about what that means. What does it mean to meet your needs and to serve you better? I'm going to share some information a little bit. I've put together a very short questionnaire that's going to get your input on this. You could always go to newsletter.invinciblesolopreneurs.com. That URL still works. I haven't changed anything yet. So I can hear from you. Or if you're in my community, you can drop in and we can have some discussions about that. But what I want to do is refine the focus of the podcast, refine the focus of the newsletter and the community to give you more of what you want. I want to explore the right topics, whether that's I stop talking about some topics that no longer make sense or I add additional topics. So I want to explore the right topics for you. I want to invite the right guest onto the show. People that will inspire you and motivate you, educate you, give you hope. I've talked to some people like that who have redefined their careers and lives, and they've started businesses to get the freedom. They've moved to other countries. They've done a lot of interesting things. But I want to have more of the right guest that interest you. And I want to share the kind of advice and information that meets your needs and gives you what you need most. If you've been following this podcast for a while, if you've been reading the newsletter and you've stuck around, then I know you probably care about your freedom. You probably care about freedom maybe a little more than the average person. You probably value your independence a little more than the average person. You don't like working for someone else. Maybe you've tolerated it. Maybe it's been okay sometimes, but you like owning your time. You want to have flexibility in your calendar without somebody getting upset with you or punishing you. You want that freedom, that independence, that flexibility. You're smart and ambitious. You're able to manage your time. You're willing to take risk. You want to learn new things. You probably want to have more time to lead the life you want. I know I did. I was working often, 10 to 12-hour days, 5 days a week, sometimes 7 days a week. I did that for a really, really long time. So I didn't have the life I wanted. I was just working. And I would guess if you're like me, you want to be more than your job or even your profession. You don't define yourself by your job. You don't want to be pigeonholed and defined by your profession. You're more than just being a designer or an engineer or an accountant or a lawyer. You're a human being with a rich life and passions and interests and dreams and ambitions, right? But you do still need to make a living. So I'm guessing if you listen to this podcast, if you read my newsletter, you're not somebody who has won the lottery, you've made hundreds of millions of dollars, or you're a billionaire, and you don't have to care about this anymore, right? Why would you be listening to this? You wouldn't need to. You're probably off on an island somewhere. So you still need to make a living somehow, and you're trying to figure that out. And if you're getting to the latter half of your career in life, you're kind of past the midpoint, you're thinking about retirement. And you've been putting money into your retirement or your savings and your investments. But you need to stretch your retirement dollars. The numbers show us that Gen X, millennials, maybe Gen Z is going to do better. We haven't saved enough for retirement. It's hard because there's been wage stagnation, because there's been some pretty crazy inflation. The cost of housing's gone way up. Insurance has gone way up. Everything's pretty expensive. It's hard to set aside a ton of money from your paycheck into retirement, especially if you live in California like I do. Homes are outrageously expensive. Young people can't even dream of affording a home. So you know that whatever you have in retirement, it's not going to be enough. Is it ever? Is it ever? So you want to stretch those retirement dollars. But I know you're not really looking for a side hustle necessarily. Like, do you really want to be working 8, 10, 12-hour days and then you have to work all night on your side hustle? Probably not. You already have that job, and the last thing you want dumped on you is even more work. So you never have a personal life. You never relax. Instead, what I would imagine probably my ideal listener and reader and client is looking for is, what is my next act? What is my second act? How can I rewrite the next chapter of my life and my professional life to be what I want it to be? So you're starting to think about that. And you're probably in this in-between space that I found myself in, and I know many of my friends are in. They're dealing with it right now. I hear about it. We talk. I talk with people. You're starting to feel a little too old to keep getting hired, but you're too young to retire. And what I mean by that is it's taking people a lot longer to find a new job now. So if they get laid off or they quit a job, they're like, whoa, what's happening? Now that I'm in my 50s, this even hits some people in their 40s, I don't seem to be as in demand as I used to be. Where are all the recruiters who used to be calling me all the time? Where are all the hiring managers who are emailing me every week? It's getting harder to find that next job. And age discrimination is a real thing, folks. People can deny it. Of course, corporations deny it. But there's enough proof. There have been enough lawsuits. We've all heard the story. We've probably experienced it ourselves. It's there. So it's getting hard to get hired, the next job. But we can't retire yet. I've seen some funny posts from younger people where they're like, hey, you old folks, just leave. Leave your jobs and open up jobs for us. This market's horrible. Why aren't you retired? We can't retire. We can't retire. If we retire somewhat early at 62, we don't get all of our benefits. So we got to wait till 67. They really would love to have us wait till we're 70. If you're in your 50s, that's a long ways off. How are you supposed to pay your bills if you don't work or you don't have a business of some sort generating income? So we can't retire. We're in this limbo, right? It's this limbo space. As I said, many of us start to feel this. We hit this point in our 50s. I think that's when it becomes quite salient. That's when I first really noticed it. And yeah, this is probably more obvious in some industries and professions than others. It's pretty obvious in tech. Some founders and CEOs have been blatant and even said it out loud before their PR teams and their legal team said, stop saying that. Don't say that anymore. It's big in the entertainment industry, obviously. It's big in sports. It's hard to be a professional athlete if you're over the age of 40, 50. Good luck. So it's definitely worse in some industries and professions than others, but you might be noticing it already. I would guess if you're considering this, if you're thinking about building your own thing, you're pretty smart. You're ambitious. You're a bit adventurous. I know a lot of people who are not that adventurous. They're terrified of the thought of building their own thing. They just want to stay with a job. It's predictable. The company takes care of everything. It is risky. It is a little scary, but some of us like that. Some of us like the adventure, the ownership, the excitement of running a thing, of running our own thing, being self-employed. You're probably pretty savvy financially, and I bet you've had some pretty good successes in your career. You've made some money. You're not so wealthy that you don't have to worry about this anymore, but you're not so poor and struggling that you're like, I can't even begin to think about quitting a job. You are experienced enough by this point that you don't really like being told what to do. I think we've all run into this. You've been doing your job for decades. It's like, I know what I'm doing. I know how to do it well. I've been successful. I climbed the ladder. And along comes a boss, and sometimes it's a younger boss who's trying to tell you what to do and saying, hey, do this, do that. And you're like, really? I don't need you to tell me how to do my job. And so you no longer have patience for this. You no longer have patience for the BS that happens with a job often. You're tired of dealing with bad leadership. It gets really old. And you're tired of the corporate nonsense. There is a lot of corporate nonsense in most companies. Some are great, but there are a lot of bad ones, and it's just silly stuff. So after decades of being on this path, you're ready for something new. You want to change, but you aren't quite sure what that looks like yet. And that's what I often hear from my clients. That's what I hear from my community. It's like, I know I want something different. I have a few ideas, but they're all just kind of bouncing around in my head, and I'm not quite sure what to do with it. I don't know how to put it all together into something cohesive. I would guess if you are Gen X, younger, things are different for us. You're probably more active. You're working out, you're exercising, you're trying to eat well, you're healthier. You're probably not smoking. There's a lot of stuff that we've done that we learned that means we're going to live longer. So you probably have a lot of years ahead of you, right? That's part of how I model my retirement. I'm like, what do I have ahead of me? It's what's in front of me. Probably a heck of a lot more than 20 years. It's probably 30, 40 years. 30, 40 more years? I can't just retire. I can't just sit back and hope Social Security will take care of me. It's not, right? That's why I built a business. And you don't want to fade into the sunset. Maybe you've watched your grandparents do this. You've watched other older people do this. You don't want to just disappear and fade into the sunset, sit on the porch every day. You don't want to go golfing every day. You don't want to sit around and play cards or play bingo. It sounds horrible. It bores you to death. I know that I'm in my late 50s and I don't do that. My wife and I lift weights, we hike, we ski, we go on vacations, we travel the world, we go see our kids. We're really active, and I'm running a business and I'm writing, I'm doing all kinds of stuff. We're very active people. So it is different. You probably have a retirement plan of some sort, whether that was provided through your employer, you built your own, set up your own. You probably made a few investments. You have some savings. But if you look at all of it and use the financial modeling tools, it's not enough. It's not enough to support your lifestyle, cover your expenses, and carry you through for another 30 to 40 years. You would completely drain it. So you need to generate some sort of income that is going to cover your expenses and stretch your retirement dollars. And there are different models. I kind of did this myself. I guess I stumbled into it. I was researching some of this stuff. You've probably heard the FIRE movement, the financially independent, retire early movement. There's something called Coast Fire, which is a variant that's a little more sustainable. I'll share some links to that if you go to newsletter.invinciblesolopreneurs.com and look up this issue. It should be issue 180, all about renaming the podcast and newsletter. But there is a Coast Fire movement where you've put a lot of effort and energy into your retirement early. kind of got things set up. So hopefully as it's accumulating and you're not drawing down from it, it's going to be enough for your real retirement when you are ready to say, yeah, I just can't keep working. I'm kind of tired of this. I just want to be a grandparent and go on some vacations. I don't want to keep working. And so you do something that's a little less intense than what your day job has been. So you're working a little less, it's a little less demanding, or maybe you're starting up a business and doing some consulting, whatever it might be, got some passive income coming in. That's covering your expenses. So now your retirement dollars are kind of safe and secure, and it's going to stretch those so it does cover you when you get into your 80s and 90s. But you really have no patience for working 8 to 12 hour days anymore. Unless you're a workaholic and you just can't stop yourself. You no longer want to do 12-hour days, 5 days a week. I did that. I did that for years and years and years, and I just can't do it anymore. I just will not do it anymore. And so the last thing I was going to do is recreate that with my business. I work, but I also play. I also make a lot of time to work out and to spend time with my wife and my kids and go on vacation. Yeah, I don't want to work 12-hour days anymore, and I guess you don't either. But what does that mean? What does that look like for you? How do you create something like that that can cover your expenses and keep your retirement safe and secure, but not burn you out, to give you more of that freedom, that time freedom that you want, that flexibility you want? Well, that, my dear listeners, is the whole point of this podcast. That's why I created this. That's why I built the newsletter and the community. I want to help you explore, define, design, and plan your ideal second act, so the last half of your life is as exciting and fulfilling as you can make it. You don't just fade into the sunset. You don't struggle. You do something that really makes you happy. So what name, what best captures the essence of all this, right? You can see the challenge here with this branding exercise. And I know that Invincible Solopreneurs, it's not doing the job. It's not doing the heavy lifting at all. I'm not married to any specific name. I'm not attached to any specific brand. What I care about is the mission of this. I care about what I'm trying to do and how I'm trying to help you, because I believe in it. I've experienced it. I'm doing it right now. And I know how good it feels. So I care about this mission. I care about the movement. I want people to live happier, better lives. I know it's not fun to grind away in a job until the day you die. No one wants to die in their cubicle. No one wants to die on the freeway coming home from work. You want to live life. So I care a lot about this. I want this for myself. I want this for my kids. I want this for my friends. I want this for you. Because if you're listening, you're reading the newsletter, that means you want it too. You want something more. So I feel passionate about it. Obviously, it's what I've done with my own life. And I know how amazing it feels. I share stuff on social media and Substack and Instagram, all that stuff. And it resonates with some people. Others just get irritated with me. That's okay. Those that get it, and they want it. So what would the right brand, the right name communicate? What should it promise to someone that encounters it? It could sound like something that invokes a fresh new chapter in your life. What is the second chapter of your life? What is the second act of your career? Maybe it gets into how this isn't really your grandparents' or your parents' career path. It's not that. And it's certainly not their model of retirement. We do not want to retire the same way. Some of us never want to retire, or we want to retire on our own terms in a very different way. Maybe it's something that sounds like independence and freedom and autonomy. Maybe the name evokes a sense of excitement and adventure, the promise of that. Maybe it does hint at financial independence, but it's not about becoming fabulously wealthy. It's not about, I'm going to get rich and have a jet and a Ferrari and a summer house. It's not about that. Because if you listen to me and you know how I feel and you're still here, you agree with me that there's more to life than money. We've seen a whole lot of really wealthy people who have miserable lives, who seem to be pretty miserable people. So you need enough money. You need enough, obviously, but it should not be the end all be all of your existence. So this is where you come in. I don't want to do this and just dump it on you. I have a few questions. I created a short questionnaire to get your thoughts on this renaming exercise, this rebranding effort. It's 5 questions. It really should only take 2 to 3 minutes. I've timed myself a few times, taking my time and filling it out. It's about 2 to 3 minutes. That's about it. And since you are a listener, and you may even be a reader of the newsletter too, I really want your input because you are the people that it matters most for, right? I included a link to the questionnaire. So if you go to newsletter.invinciblesolopreneurs.com, this is issue 180. It's all about the rebranding, the renaming. There's a link to the questionnaire. It's very short. Has 5 questions. One is, when you hear the words invincible and solopreneur, what's your reaction? What is your gut reaction? What does it make you think? How does it make you feel? And it's okay. You can be honest. You're not going to hurt my feelings. I already know I want to change this. What words best describe what you want from your second act, from the next chapter of your life? What is the word or words? And you can come up with just kind of a stream of consciousness if you want. Question 3, are there specific words or even phrases that excite you and inspire you when I start talking about quitting a job, when I talk about the concept of early retirement or semi-retirement, when we talk about self-employment? Are there any words or phrases that's like, yeah, I like that. That really makes me motivated and inspired? 4, it's kind of the opposite. Are there words or phrases that turn you off? You're like, if I hear that, I'm going to shut off the podcast. I'm going to stop reading. Are there words that turn you off when talking about early retirement and self-employment? I know there were for me. I'm not going to bias you, but I'd be curious to hear what you think. And 5, kind of the final question, what name for this podcast and the newsletter, the community, because it's going to be obviously aligned, what would attract your attention? If you saw that in the stream, if you heard somebody mention it, you'd be like, what is that? That sounds interesting. It would make you interested in signing up for the newsletter, listening to the podcast, joining the community. And it would make you more likely to recommend it to a friend. I think we've all encountered podcasts or newsletters that have names for like, yeah, there's useful information, but I don't like I don't like what it evokes or what it implies. I really don't want to send that to a friend. So I want something that you would feel comfortable with sending to a friend. You'd say, yeah, this is useful and it's interesting, and I wish you would join me there. So that's the 5 questions. You can go fill out that survey if you visit newsletter.invinciblesolopreneurs.com. So just to recap all of this, yeah, I am going to rename this podcast. I'm going to rename the newsletter because I know the current name just isn't doing its job. It's not. I can tell. So I would love to get your input. I don't want to do this on my own and just dump it on you. I want to get your input. Completing the survey only takes, seriously, it's short, 2 to 3 minutes. But you could also join my community for free. So the Solopreneur community, haven't changed the name yet. It's free. And I'll have a link in the newsletter and show notes for that. So you could join us for free and we can talk about it in more detail if you have a lot of thoughts about this or you really want to make sure I hear what you have to say. After I get this input, so once the questionnaire has been filled out and I'm hearing from listeners, I'm hearing from readers and some of the community members and friends and so forth. I'm going to explore all the ideas. I'm going to come back with a few options. So I'm sure it won't be like, oh, wow, there's one that's the magical name. I'm sure there'll be a few options and they'll have pros and cons. So I want to share those with you and see what you think. Probably could put a poll up that would be like, hey, here's 5 names I'm considering. Vote on these. Tell me what you think. I should emphasize that nothing's going to change right away. I'm not just going to randomly change the name and kind of push go on that. I want to make a decision that reflects your wants and needs, that has your input. And again, the overall mission of this, the movement that I'm building, it doesn't really change. It just becomes more focused. I want it to be more focused on what you want, what you need from it. We're still going to be about becoming empowered to build the lives we want, to no longer be constrained by the expectations of others. That's really what it's about. Empowerment, freedom, flexibility, living the life you want. So thanks for listening, and hope you fill out the survey, and I hope to hear some of your ideas soon. Until next time, I wish you the best of luck with building the business of your dreams.